All right, what is a godly, biblical view of immigration, and how should Christians treat immigrants, including illegal immigrants? Somebody say, ooh, that sounds awful political, doesn't it? Well, it is political, but it's also awfully biblical, and I want to take first run after it from a biblical perspective. One of the things that you'll see over and over in the Bible is that God teaches from Moses all the way through Jesus that we are to love the alien and the stranger in our midst. Love the alien and the stranger in our midst. Now, it's an interesting scenario. If you go back to the Old Testament, when people were moving from place to place, there were not such things as superhighways and hotels. If people were going to be moving from place to place, they were really dependent on the kindness of the people that they were going to travel from one place to another. Whether they were traveling there permanently or whether they were traveling there for, to get through to another place. But the invitation of the people of God has always been to love the alien and stranger and to welcome them in their midst. It's true that it is just the natural inclination of every culture to put a line around who's in and who's out. And when there are people who are foreigners, who have different language, different culture, came from a different place, don't have the relationship with you, it's easy to keep them out. But for us to love those who are poor, who are marginalized, who don't speak the same language as us, is an imperative as people who are followers of Jesus. Now, as I say this, I also must say the government is in a challenging place because they have to figure out who are our people that we take care of. Particularly in a place like the United States where there are certain benefits that are gained by citizenship, the government has to make some really hard decisions about what is legal and what is illegal. And Romans chapter 13 says that the government carries the sword for good reason. And what that means is they have the right to enforce laws for particular reasons. And I'll tell you what, I am not jealous of our government officials who have got very difficult decisions to make in terms of which people are allowed in and which people are not allowed in. It would simply not be wise for a government to say we have open borders and whoever wants to come can come, receive full benefits. It's just not a smart way to be doing leadership. But there is a certain element of compassion of people who are coming from war-torn countries or horrific situations, that we would be people who are morally compassionate and loving. So it's a very difficult dance. And what I would encourage all of us to do as followers of Jesus is two things. Number one is to pray for our public officials that they would make wise decisions around this, because it's not a simple issue by any stretch of the imagination. And number two, from our perspective, is that when we run across people who are immigrants, who are aliens, who are strangers, that it's our prerogative and responsibility to love them in the name of Jesus. All right? So that's kind of my bottom line on that one.